welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is JJ and I run a crochet amigurumi business called Jj Crochets, and in this video we're going to be doing a full market breakdown of all the markets that I did in 2024. I would like to start with saying I'm sorry that I'm holding this microphone. My cat is in the room, and if you have watched my previous videos, you might know that my cat makes a lot of noise. He likes to run around and goes a little bit crazy. He is currently playing with a little bit of paper on the floor, so that is why I've got this, and I haven't got a pocket or anything to attach it to. I am hoping that the audio turns out okay. If not, you won't be seeing this video, so don't worry about it. It must be okay enough for me to post it. So that being said, if you see a cat running across the radiator cover, the windowsill, maybe even on the back of my chair at any point in this video, I apologise, but he decided he wanted to come spend some time with me today. I feel like my desk is so full at the moment because I have got some notes written down about my thoughts about the markets this year. I've also got my phone here with the numbers on them, which I will be sharing with you in this video. I'm going to be sharing my overall thoughts and feelings on the markets that I've done this year. I'm going to be sharing the numbers, what I made. I'm going to share the material costs of the items that sold at the markets as well, and the costs to be at these events. So I'll be doing a full breakdown in this video of the events as a whole. I think he's just out of shot, but the cat has just come to sit on my lap, so hopefully when he starts purring it's not too close to the microphone that you can hear it anyway. He has already started purring. At the time of posting this video, I don't know where I am with posting my vlogs onto YouTube, so you might not know that the cat is like free roaming the house at this point. Him and the dog are best friends, so that's a bit of a spoiler potentially if you watch my vlogs, and we're not up to that point yet. But he chases the dog's tail, he plays with the children's toys rather than his own toys, because what's the point in him playing with his own toys that we spent money on when he could just play with the children's? Apart from the rug downstairs, it's all like wood flooring, so little plastic pieces he'll be throwing across the room, and yeah, it's quite funny. But he is on my lap now, so maybe we won't have much disruption in this video. We will have to see. Anyway, getting sidetracked there, talking about the cat as always. Let's get back to what this video is supposed to be about, the markets that I have attended this year or last year. So my 2024 events. So my thoughts and feelings on the 2024 events kind of as a whole last year. I attended a lot of events. I attended 26 events. Some of these were one-day events, some of them were two-day events. I even had a three-day event as well towards the end of the year. I did actually have a three-day event in August, but I only attended 2 of the 3 days because that event went really well for me and there was no point in me going on the third day. But yeah, we've had a good mix of events this year. We've had some really busy times, we've had some quieter times. Do bear in mind that I had my second child this year in May, so that's just when market season is starting to pick up. So I did miss out on the start of the market season, but I don't feel like I missed out too much. So I had my last event around middle of April, and then I went back to doing events. My first one was towards the end of June. I had my son in the beginning of May, so he was about 6 or 7 weeks old by the time I started going back to events, which wasn't long at all, but I really enjoyed doing events. I enjoy my job, so I kind of didn't really feel the need to have too much time off. I work around my children anyway. I work during nap time and then I work in the evenings once my partner's home, so I'd only be getting bored or doing some other type of hobby, and I really enjoy crochet, so I didn't exactly have much time off. I just basically took the pressure off of doing markets and doing social media stuff as well. However, that is the time when I started recording videos to start a YouTube channel, so then I took on a bigger load anyway by doing that. But that is me. I'm the type of person that cannot sit still and I get bored very easily. So anyway, I do have another child. I have a little girl who's almost 2, so that does mean that I have been parenting 2 under 2 this year as well. At least 2 under 2 for the second half of the year. In the first half of the year, I still had a 1-year-old. I have not done this full time at all this year. I only work this business part-time 1 day a week on a Wednesday. So like today, my mum has both of the children so that I can have a full day of work. So if for whatever reason I've not been able to work much around the children in the week, I have my Wednesdays to sort of catch up. But yeah, apart from that, this is still part-time. This is still something that I'm very much building. We're still very much in the early days. This is my second year of doing events, but the first year is when I started. I did an event in like April and then waited a bit and did an event in June, and then it kind of started from there, my business did. So last year was not a full year, so this is my first year of events. However, not a full year of events because I had my son this year too. So I'm excited for next year for that reason, to sort of see the potential. Still working part-time of course, but I'm still excited to see how it's going to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my bestsellers of this year, and I'm going to tell you how much I made from selling those items as well. I will then go on to my worst and best events, and then I will give overall numbers after that. So I'm going to give you my top 5 bestsellers. So in 5th place was duckies in frog hats, and I sold 72 duckies in frog hats this year, and I made £560 by selling duckies in frog hats alone. Now this is incredible because I did not start the year making duckies in frog hats. I think I must have started these maybe the like end of August time. I will have a look to see if I can backtrack that and let you know on screen. But when I first started, I didn't make large quantities of them. I just made a few to sort of see how they would go, and then I started to increase the quantities that I took, and then I found that it would often come up in the top 3 bestsellers of the events. So next year I do think that duckies in frog hats really does have the potential to be in my top 3 bestsellers next year, but we will have to see. I am over the moon with that amount that I made from there, and I'm really not surprised to see duckies in frog hats in the top 5, even though they were only part of my stock halfway through the year. And with the duckies in frog hats, I sell them at £8 each. All my £8 items are on a 2 for £15 deal. It's a market exclusive deal, so you can only get them if you come and see me in person and purchase from me in person at one of the events that I'm attending. That is why if you worked out 72 times 8, it would not equal 560, just so you know for future reference as well. All of my £8 items are on that deal. So even though I sold so many and it doesn't make up for how much I made selling those, it's because some people would have obviously bought them on the deal. Could I have made more if I didn't have the deal? Maybe, but I do find that a lot of people do buy the second item because it's on the deal. So overall, I therefore make more than I would do if I didn't have the deal. Now in 4th place for what sold at my markets this year is octopus. I sold 77 octopus this year and I made £594 from selling those. I don't really know if I'm necessarily surprised that they're in my bestsellers or not. They're not that popular, and honestly I don't put a lot of effort into them. I kind of just make any colours. Recently I've been trying to make more specific colours like I do with all my other items because it's just easier to have certain colours. I'll have like 5 different colours or something of an item that I will take to market, so then I'm not really overwhelming myself with trying to make sure I make enough of each colour and stuff like that. Only recently have I started choosing certain colours that I will use to make octopus. I don't think it's made it any better or worse in terms of sales of octopus. They have been selling out at some of my events recently, but then I haven't had as many as them as I have other things because they're not usually in my top 3 bestsellers. I'm maybe not surprised that it's in my top 5, but I don't necessarily think it will stay there. I think if I had the duckies in frog hats all year round, they would have definitely gone flying past the octopus. I was considering taking the octopi off the table, but I'm going to keep them there for now and see how I feel later in the year, because I do actually quite enjoy making octopus, so it's not that it drains me or anything. So I'm going to keep them for now, but they might not be something that carries on throughout the whole year. In third place for my bestsellers, and this is quite the jump from fourth place, it is axolotls, and I sold 145 axolotls and I made £1,130 from the sales of those axolotls. If I'm honest, I am surprised that they are only in third place. I would have probably predicted them to maybe be in second because they have been very popular, but then I do think that at some events I should have took larger quantities of them. But I am very, very happy with the amount that I have made from axolotls alone, and I am very happy with the amount of axolotls that sold as well. Again, absolutely over the moon. That is a huge number for me. Just for one product alone to make over £1,000 is insane to me, and unbelievable. But the figures are in front of me and that's what it says. So moving on to second place, and in second place is Tank the Turtles, and I sold 63 Tank the Turtles this year and I made £1,263 from the sales of those Tank the Turtles. I'm not surprised that Tank the Turtles are in the top 5. They're one of the £8 items. All the ones that I've listed so far are the £8 items. They are good value for money, and a lot more people want to spend less money but they still really want to buy something, and they are on the 2 for £15 deal, so I'm really not surprised that they have done as well as they have. And if you've watched my previous videos, you might have been able to guess what my first bestseller was, and I would be interested for you to let me know before I tell you what my first bestseller was. My first bestseller this year was Chubby Frogs, which I am really not surprised with. This year I sold 213 Chubby Frogs, and from the sales of those Chubby Frogs I made £1,420, which is incredible. Nearly £1,500 just from selling one product. That is insane. I'm not surprised that they're at the top. I do think there's some competition for them next year, especially with the duckies in frog hats and the axolotls, because towards the end of the year they were getting very, very popular. However, my Chubby Frogs are £7 opposed to £8. I am considering raising the price of those and having them as an £8 item, which would also mean they were like on the deal as well. Obviously, if someone buys an £8 item and a Chubby Frog as well, it still costs them £15. I'm just considering whether it would be worth raising them up to £8 since they are so popular and they are quite high in demand at my markets, as much as maybe that may put a few people off the money that I would make from the extra pounds that it cost should make up for it. It's something that I think I might trial, and if it doesn't work out then I can always reduce the price. Obviously, soon enough minimum wage goes up. That's also when I tend to find that yarn prices go up as well and things like that. So I know that material costs are going to go up. I know that I should increase my wage as well. It is something that is a possibility, but I'm not 100% sure at this very moment in time. I don't have a market until March currently. That may change. I may have one at the end of February if I decide to apply for some, but I still have a bit of time to make that decision, so I'm not in a rush to do so. They were all my bestsellers for my markets this year and I'm very happy with them. I'm not really sure how to comment on the bestsellers. I mean, how much each of those made was incredible. It was quite a jump from the fourth bestseller to the third bestseller, which I found quite interesting. The 3 bestsellers is usually between 4 items, and that's Chubby Frogs, Tank the Turtles, duckies in frog hats, and axolotls. I only bought in duckies in frog hats past the half the year mark, so I've been selling them for only half the year, so I'm not surprised that overall they are on the bottom, but I do think next year they really do have a chance of being in the top 3, and then the jump from the third and the fourth bestseller may not be as big, but we will see. I'll probably do this video again next year as well. Now, I did want to mention the worst and best events that I did this year in terms of money. So my worst event this year was in March, and it was at the Millennium Gallery in Sheffield. At this event I only made £93, which may sound okay to some people, but I believe this event cost me either £40 or £50 to be at. I can't say for sure right now, I would have to look. But yeah, that was not a great event. There was barely any foot traffic, the signage wasn't great, and I know the venue itself didn't actually promote the event for the organisers as they should have done, which probably would have helped. But honestly, I don't know how much it would have helped, because this was actually a shocking event. For me, if you've watched my other videos before, you know that I like to make at least 3 times the stall fee at my events, and that's sort of the minimum that I would have to make to be able to cover my stall fee, material costs and all that sort of stuff without losing anything, and obviously pay myself for the items that sold. Even that wouldn't pay me for the time that it takes me being at the event, but I kind of don't, well, I don't take money out for that anyway, so that's fine. But yeah, that's obviously nowhere near the 3 times the store fee that I should have made, or that I needed to make at this event. Plus the parking at this event was insane. I think the parking cost was something like £23 or something. Put that on top of it as well, and I would have had to make quite a bit more for my profits to cover all of that. It is what it is. Never doing that event again. In fact, I don't think the organisers even do that event anymore, because they were quite annoyed at the venue. So that leads us on to my best event of the year. I've got 2 for these because basically, technically my best event this year was the Rutland Women in Business event. I think they called it the Big Christmas Market, that I did in November, and it was a 3-day event, and at that event I made £1,094, which is obviously insane. Event wise, that was the most I'd made at an event, but that event was 3 days. Now, the most I made in one day was at Rufford Abbey, which I did with the Stalls Market, and I made £551 on that day, and that was only 10 till 3, so a 5-hour event. So that was incredible, and I was over the moon with that. I did that event in October. I didn't really expect to make that much money in October at an outdoor event, but to be fair, the venue was perfect for my target audience. Lots of children there. It's literally a country park, and where they placed the market is right at the entrance as well. So that was an incredible event for me, and I was really, really happy with that one. And I do have some booked in for Rufford Abbey with the same organisers this year. I think I'm booked for March, August and October, but I can't say for sure. I will put them on screen of the dates that I am doing at Rufford Abbey this year if you are interested in coming to see me. I have done that event with those organisers before as well. I made like half that amount. Maybe the £500 day was a fluke, maybe the £270 day was a fluke, I don't know, but I do know that on the £270 day I didn't have a lot of stock, so I think that contributed to the lower end of that. However, £270 in one day for me is still amazing. So even if I get £270 at all the events this year that I have at Rufford Abbey, I'd still be more than happy with that. But yeah, they're my best and worst events. Now, a few thoughts. I thought I would let you know my favourite events of the year. So my favourite events this year were definitely the Garage Market. I love going to the Garage Market. This is a little market in Chilwell, Beeston in Nottinghamshire. It's actually on the tram line, so it's very close to the city centre. Like, it's not that close to the city centre, but it's on the tram lines. It's very easy to get to. It's the Barton Brothers, or the Barton Bros. I think that's what the company is technically called, because it's basically like an old bus station that they've converted, and they do a lot of different events, and they have weekly markets on a Sunday. As a store holder, you can't do every week. So I go there as a customer because it's not too far from me, and it's also only a 4-hour day, and the least I've ever made at that event I think was £250. So to make £250 in 4 hours minimum is great. I think the best I've done at that event is £365, I believe it was, and that was the last one I did on the 1st of December, so that was part of their Christmas markets. Another event that I really like is Craft and Flea as well. I think the reasons that I really enjoy the garage and the craft and flea is because they are very often, if you don't get accepted on a particular date, then there is lots of other dates and lots of other opportunities. The organisers are great and make sure that there are no duplicates in stall types. I've never been to the garage and there'd be another plushie maker. I've never been to Craft and Flea and there'd be another plushie maker. Well, actually, no, I did go to the Craft and Flea and there was someone selling plushies, but her whole business idea I think was based around cats, because the only plushies that she sold were cats, or maybe she just really liked cats and wanted to make plushies of cats, I'm not sure. So yeah, that wasn't that bad. They're organised really, really well. There's less risk of having someone selling the same items as you, so there's less competition in that way, and they're just really good events, like vibes wise, atmosphere wise, they're really good events. I enjoy being there. I enjoy being a customer at those events too. So yeah, that's why they're my favourite events. And they're quite predictable in the sense of I know that I'm gonna make good money there. I've never been to a craft and fleet or the garage market and not made good money. At the garage market, the least I've made is £250, and then at Craft and Fleet, I think the least I've made is about £360 in a day, and that's a 6-hour event. So yeah, pretty happy with that, and they are events that I will be looking into applying for again this year as well. Now, lastly, I'm gonna tell you all my numbers. So I'm going to tell you my fees, I'm going to tell you my total revenue, and then I'm going to tell you my approximate take home pay from it, or profit from it, if you will. Obviously, typically I should take a wage out of that, but it's not really how I do it. So if you combine all of the events of 2024 that I did, I made £8,032 at all of these events across the 26 events that I did this year. That is a number that I am absolutely over the moon with. It's not what I predicted at all, especially given the fact that I had a baby in that time as well. I think that is an incredible number. Now, of that £8,000 that I made, I paid £97 in card fees, which honestly I'm okay with. Absolutely fine with. I don't think that's that much, to be fair, and I still think that it would have cost me more to pay a monthly fee for a card reader, because I don't know what it's like in other countries, but in the UK you can either just pay upfront for a card reader and then pay for transaction fees, or you can pay a monthly cost for a card reader if you make enough each month. I still think, even though it was nearly £100 that I paid in card fees, it was less than I would have paid if I paid a monthly fee for a card reader. Of the items that I sold at the market events, it cost me around £800 in materials. I can't give you an exact figure for the materials. Obviously I've definitely spent more than that on materials. I've sold other items, I've still got items, I've still got all my materials and things like that. But what I do is I do actually work out the material costs per item. So based on the items that sold, the material costs that went into those items was around £800. If you are interested, because I know some people sometimes ask about material costs and things. And then lastly, it cost me around £1,500 in store fees this year. It depends how you see it, whether that's a lot to you or not. That is around £58 per market. That's not per day, that's per market. Obviously, some of my events were 2 days, some were even 3 days, or at least paid for the 3 days and things like that. So actually I'm not too bothered about that. I think that was reasonable. The markets that I go to, I'm willing to pay between 40 and 60-ish pounds per day anyway. Sometimes I might pay a little bit more. It's not often that I pay less than that, if I'm completely honest with you, because I find that they're the smaller events which I don't really like going to. But yeah, that does seem like a big number when you just say it on its own. £1,500 is a lot of money, but when I made over £8,000 by spending that, I do think it was worth it, and I am happy to have spent that much on the markets. So that does mean that if you take off all of those figures. I made a little bit over £5,500 this year by going to markets. Obviously, typically you would pay yourself out of that. I am in a fortunate position where I don't really have to do that right now. My partner works, and at this very moment in time, whilst we can afford it, I'm investing into my business rather than taking money out of it to pay myself. I'm aware that that is a fortunate position to be in, but for me, it's more important to invest more in my business now to grow it rather than taking money out of it. So business profit wise, I made a little over £5,500 from markets alone. I do have some other income streams that I have in this business. None of them came anywhere close to what I made at markets this year. I am working on that changing a little bit and everything being a little bit more even. But yeah, over £5,500. That's crazy to me. I am well over the moon about that. I just can't really put it into words of how I feel. It was a lot more than I expected before I looked at the numbers. I was kind of expecting maybe to have made like £6,000 in sales this year from markets, but no, £8,000. And then yeah, to overall, even once you take away all the costs and everything, to have profited over £5,500, I was very, very happy with. So yeah, and I'm glad that I had that money to therefore put back into the business and invest in doing other things. But yeah, that's pretty much it actually for my market breakdown this year. I have been talking for a while. I feel lost for words, like I really don't know how to put it into words of how I feel having seen those numbers. I'm very, very proud of myself. I'm very, very grateful for all of the customers that I had this year, and thank you if you purchased from me this year, if you took a card, if you dropped me a follow, if you commented on my videos, anything like that. Very, very grateful for you. Next year, I don't plan to do as many events. I did kind of take last year as an experimental year on, you know, different events and which type of events are good for me. So this year I won't be doing as many events, but I'll be kind of picking the best events to go to. I feel a lot more knowledgeable on the type of events that are for me, even if it's a brand new event to me to go to. So having that knowledge and having the experience that I had last year, I plan to not do as many events. I don't necessarily plan to make as much money either, because I want to put more time into YouTube and social media as well, because they are parts of the business that I really, really want to expand in and grow. But I still will be doing quite a few events this year. I'm really hoping to continue with doing the garage markets. I really hope to keep doing the craft and flea markets, and then I really would like to do Ashfield Show again. I'd really like to do the Rutland Women in Business event again as well. And there's a few other events that went really well for me that I'd really, really like to do again. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm waiting to be able to apply to some of them. Some I've already applied to. I've already got some events like the Rufford Abbey events. I've already got them booked and everything. So my calendar is not finalised for this year. You can keep up to date with my events by going on my website, and then I have an events tab that will tell you all the events that I have booked at that time. Now, I'm really sorry for my voice and stuff in this video. I have actually been ill recently, but I really wanted to film this video so I could get it edited and get it up for you guys, because I've really wanted to do this video for a long time, like way before the end of the year. I was really interested in looking at all my results from the markets this year, and I'm glad to have done so. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. This is the first time I've made a video where I've like sat down and just talked at the camera. Obviously, usually it's studio vlogs for me, so this is a little bit new, and this is something that I'm hoping to bring into 2025. So if you have any ideas of sit down talking videos that you want me to do for you, like tips and tricks videos, anything in particular that you have in mind, then please do let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, then I would really, really appreciate if you'd give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, to do so you don't miss these videos in the future. I have a lot of studio vlogs that I am still editing right now and getting up for you guys. I'm really trying to keep on track with YouTube this year. I really struggled struggled at the end of last year with all the events, and then obviously I work around my children, so it's sometimes, especially when illness hits the household, it's very difficult to do these sorts of things. But I am trying my best to stay ahead this year and try and avoid missing any uploads that I have. At the time of filming this video, I mostly post on Sundays, but this is subject to change because I'm just trying to figure out the best posting schedule for me. So this video might have not come out on a Sunday. This also might be an extra video that I do because I still want to really work on getting my studio vlogs out. I don't know at this very moment in time, until I've edited the videos, what's going to happen. But yes, thank you so much for watching. I really hoped you enjoyed it, and I would appreciate if you showed me some love in the comments down below and by liking this video and subscribing. And I hope you have a lovely day. I hope you have a great 2025. If you also do markets like myself, I hope that they are successful for you. If you are thinking about doing markets because you've not done markets before, give it a go. I think they're definitely worth the time and the experience that they give you as well. But that is it from me today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.